Hey, good morning. Want to make another video about how to fix homelessness. This is a complicated subject, but it really shouldn't be. It's actually really simple. The quote unquote homeless crisis isn't a homeless crisis, it is a drug addict and mentally ill crisis. Yes, they are quote unquote homeless because you've put them on the street where they don't belong. And yes, you put them there, or the people you elected put them there. If you provide mental health care for people who are mentally ill to the point where they can't function, and I don't mean that they're not like a top shelf citizen, but I'm talking about people who talk to themselves, people who lash out in violence, people who expose themselves to children and poop on the sidewalk, all of those things. The way out there people where you're like, wow, that person needs help. You don't help them. The money's taken from you to help them, but it goes in Gavin Newsom's pockets. It goes in the charitable industrial complex, where it goes to salaries of Democratic voters who don't really care or do much. But you're not helping the mentally ill by leaving them on the street. The problem is that forced involuntary institutionalization has been misused and will be misused for people to use it politically, to use it to rob people, to use it to put their political enemies behind the walls. So there needs to be guardrails, but you need to have mental health care for people who are severely mentally ill. I'm not talking about someone you disagree with politically. I'm not talking about a loner like me who doesn't fit in with what society's got going on right now and wants to just kind of be on the outskirts of it, but still is very functional in society. But the people who are severely ill need mental health care. They need to be in an institution. They shouldn't be left for your kids to have to deal with on the street. It's insane. You might be, some of these people voting for this might be as crazy as the people who need the institutions. But help the mentally ill. Give them mental health care. People who are severely, objectively mentally ill. Give them mental health care. And then the other half of the coin is people who are severe drug addicts need to be in drug rehabilitation. But because the people you elect steal all the money that goes to drug rehabilitation, put them in prison. And I hate to say that because I do know a lot of drug addicts, some of which are good people. There are good drug addicts out there. Someone will give you the shirt off their back if they think you need it. But they're the exception. But regardless, we can't leave fentanyl addicts on the street because they don't care about anyone else at all. Most of them. And it shouldn't be society's problem to deal with on a daily basis. Violent, crazy criminals attacking people and trashing things, smoking dope on public transit. All of these things are things that society shouldn't have to deal with, and we wouldn't have to if our governments did their job and put people who not just are sleeping while poor. Sleeping while poor shouldn't be a crime. That is not a crime. But people who are smoking fentanyl on public transit belong in a cage. If you're not going to give them drug rehab and fix them up, get them right, put them in a cage. People selling dope, put them in a cage. And I'm not talking about weed or mushrooms or anything like that, but people are selling fentanyl and methamphetamines, put them in a cage. We shouldn't have to live like this. It's infuriating to me. riding the metro in LA. How disgusting, dangerous, and dope-filled it is. And I'm a lot more equipped to handle these people than most of you. And I shouldn't have to deal with it. Neither should you. So stop voting for these people who won't take care of the mentally ill and won't do something about the drug problem. And that takes care of 90% of the homeless crisis right there. If you just arrest dope heads who can't behave, and you give mental health care to the severely mentally ill, that is 90% plus of the violence from quote-unquote homeless people. That's 90+% of the trash that homeless people leave. That is the homeless encampments. Most of it goes away, and then what you're left with are people who have legitimate problems, healthcare in a lot of cases, people who just want to be on the outskirts of society, like Diogenes, like me. And we're not a big problem in society. In the 90s, I was doing the same thing. And people then looked at me and didn't think, oh, here comes a violent fentanyl addict, because they weren't allowed on the streets then. Severe violent drug addicts were put in cages then. And there was some mental health problems on the street. But the fentanyl has changed the streets a lot. It is causing severe mental illness in these people. It is causing malignant narcissism is a big problem with fentanyl addicts. And I don't know if it's biochemical or just a result of the societal impacts of being a fentanyl addict, but a ton of fentanyl addicts are malignant narcissists as well. And I don't think they all started off like that. I think the drug is doing it somehow. And it is psychologically damaging to be treated like you're the scum of the earth by everybody, particularly if you aren't being scummy. It is psychologically traumatizing. It is bothersome. A lot of these people have a lot to fear just to sleep for 4 hours. They've got to worry about being robbed, attacked, raped, all of those things. So, you're causing mental illness, you're causing society to fall apart. You're doing it by voting for people who steal the money meant to fix these problems. Not all of you are voting for them, I understand that. Some of you are fighting against that. Kudos to you. But you need to separate homelessness, drug addicts, and the mentally ill. We're not the same thing. Lumping us all together solves nothing. It just shows incompetence on your end. So stop acting like the violent fentanyl addict with severe mental health problems represents homelessness. He does not. He represents your society and your politicians not doing their jobs, being corrupt, being incompetent, and being lied to. You're being lied to about what the problem is out here. The problem isn't people who sleep while poor. Me hanging in this hammock is causing nobody any problems. None. Everybody's fine. Okay? Everybody's safe. But leaving the mentally ill on the streets is not safe. Leaving fentanyl addicts on the street with open wounds and a whole bunch of resentment and anger is not safe. And we're not the same thing. And until you can figure out the difference and stop electing corrupt, incompetent demons in some cases, you're not going to fix anything. Stop voting for these people. People are different. Figure out what the difference is between me and a dopehead. And then figure out how you're going to fix their problem. Stop associating me with it, because I got nothing to do with it. Peace to the peaceful. God bless all good people. And I am out of here. Hit all the buttons on your way out. Thank you.